Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are expecting baby number 2. And the birth of baby number 2 can be quite a bit different. So today I'm going to share 3 awesome tips for Prince Harry. And if you are not a royal or you're not a former royal, I think you're still going to get a lot of good information out of this, especially if you are expecting a second baby. Now, while this video is focused on tips for Prince Harry or for partners, support people, if you are the person that will be birthing this baby, I really encourage you to check it out, stay till the end, see those tips, and then forward them along to your partner. Now, at the end of this video, you are going to want to check out my advice to Prince Charles because it's good. 3 tips. Here we go. Number 1 is don't skip out on preparation for this birth. Now, Prince Harry, maybe you and Meghan Markle did childbirth classes. You probably thought about how birth was going to go, talked about preferences. If you are like many second-time parents, you might want to skip this step. You might think it was fairly recently that you had a baby, it's only been 18 months or so. When you have your second, you probably remember how it goes, but I don't want you to make this mistake. It is important to still prepare for the birth. Now, I really recommend that families sit down together and talk through some really key questions. So, Harry, you will want to ask Meghan questions like, what is she hoping for out of this birth? Talk through what went well last time, what support techniques that you used last time really went well, what parts of the birth went well. And then on the flip side, talk through what maybe didn't go so well. What are things you're hoping to improve this time around? What are some ways you as a support person can provide better support this time around? So it's great to actually block out time in your calendar to go through questions like these and talk about how you want the birth to go. If you are looking for a great refresher course, link down below to the Supporting Her course for partners. That's a course just for support people, and it's great even if you're expecting your second baby. So even though you've been there before, don't assume that you remember everything. Don't assume that you remember the techniques that you might have learned in childbirth class and how labor goes. It's good to refresh yourself. Number 2 is a big one. The pace of how labor goes with a second baby is usually pretty radically different. And my best comparison is if we take our first birth, we can compare that to a marathon. A lot of people have longer first labors where they are an average of, say, 18 hours. So it's an endurance sport. It is something that we plan for being in labor for many hours, maybe even missing a night's sleep in that first birth. Second birth is often a very different story. If the first was an endurance marathon, the second one can be a full-out sprint. So if you have ever heard stories about babies being born in a car or maybe accidentally born at home, if you ask, I would say the vast majority of those are second births. Now, I'm not saying that to scare you, but I am saying that to be real, to let you know that things can pick up quick. Now, this can really surprise second-time parents because they're planning for the long haul, and in early labor, they might think they have a long time, and then all of a sudden things change very quickly. So not only can it be shorter, like sometimes people say your labor is about half what your first is, but it can also be more intense quicker. So, Prince Harry, you've got to be ready to step up and support quickly because that pace is going to be very different. So in order to be ready for this quick pace, quick acceleration of labor, make sure that you have things ready like car seat installed way in advance, bags packed way in advance, and above all, a plan for your firstborn. Where is your firstborn going to go, or is someone going to come over to take care of them when labor comes quickly? So make sure you have somebody to watch little Archie at home. I know he's just going to be a little bit over 1, so he's definitely going to need a lot of care and support when you are at the hospital, make sure whoever you assign to that task, that they know to keep their phone on at all hours. So make sure they have a reminder, because as we know, probably know from the first time, labor often starts on its own at nighttime or overnight or those wee hours of the morning. Number 3 tip is really about after the birth. So after the birth, when you have a second baby, we really see as doulas and childbirth educators that resting can be harder. So Megan is going to want to spend time with Archie, going to want to spend time with the new baby, but really has to rest herself. So Harry, make sure that you are ready to really step up your support game after the baby is born. I know sometimes people think, well, we've done this before, it's not going to be as hard. And you might be thinking to yourself, we had it really easy the first time. Why did we think it was hard? Now we've got a toddler and a baby. Yes, it does seem strange when you go through this, but rest is still really important. Healing from a second baby's birth is still really important. Now, we've got our 3 tips in. Here's my tip for Prince Charles and Camilla and any grandparents to be out there that are expecting a second grandchild, or maybe another, or maybe this isn't a second, maybe this is one of many grandchildren. A great way that you can support, if possible, help the family out in the way that they need help. So it might not be setting up, important royal photo shoots. It might be paying for a postpartum doula to come. It might be sending grocery delivery, sending dinner delivery. I don't know if this is a tip that Prince Charles and Camilla are going to do laundry, but grandparents to be out there doing those household chores, helping out with the firstborn baby, and bringing meals are all really great things to do to support the birth of a second baby. So let me know whether you are Prince Harry or not in the comments below if you found these tips valuable. And for important information when you are on your way to have a baby, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.